Letter 14. Palampur, India, July 4th, 1933. Dear fellow travellers, this is American Independence Day, but I am thinking more of the independence of the soul, of its emancipation from the 5 enemies that have so long enslaved it, and from the domination of the negative power. I am thinking of the path of the saints, that royal highway which leads to complete and eternal freedom of the soul. I am thinking especially today of the great deliverer, the noble emancipator, the master, the true saint, by whose grace the sojourner in the realms of Gaul is enabled to break the last fetter that binds him and reach his home in the supreme region. I would like to sketch this path today, if I might, and make it so clear that all men could see it, if only we could make it so plain and definite that it could not be mistaken again even by the casual reader. This holy path should be so differentiated and marked out that none ever miss it. Its main features should be so clearly set forth that it will be easily distinguished from all other paths of a religio-spiritual nature. This path of the saints is indeed unique and individual. There is no other way like it, or even approximately similar. There is no other way just as good. For it there can be no substitutes, for there is only one way that leads to the supreme goal. This holy path is not a theory, it is not a system of beliefs or dogmas, it is not even a religion, although it embraces all of the values of religion. It is an actual way, a genuine road to be travelled, involving, of course, certain preparation and training as one goes along. In fact, the word path is not altogether appropriate. It is, more properly speaking, El Camino Real, or the King's Highway. It belongs to the royal masters, and it leads the traveller from earth upwards through kingdom after kingdom, from country to country, each one more splendid than the other, in an advancing series until the upper terminus lands the traveller at the very feet of the Supreme Lord of all regions. And this is no allegory, no figure of speech, no flight of the imagination. It is a literal, actual highway over which the saints and their disciples travel, passing through numberless and vast regions, stopping at different stations en route. The passage is really a succession of triumphs, for the disciples of the saints are enabled to master each region as they enter it, to absorb its knowledge and powers, and become citizens of it. No Hannibal or Alexander or any Caesar ever made such a triumphal advance. The saint is the great captain, leading the soul from victory to victory. It is a long and difficult passage, but the saint has been over it many times, and he is master of it all. He is, in fact, Lord of all intervening regions through which this highway leads, and before him numberless multitudes bow down as he passes. It is therefore a long succession of triumphs, even until he reaches the grand terminus. Many splendid continents and worlds. In each region through which the traveller passes, he discovers new continents, new worlds, and meets their inhabitants. He beholds their dwellings and modes of living. He studies them, perhaps visits there for months or years before he advances. Then he passes on to higher planes. The journey may require many years, all depending upon the difficulties he meets within himself, his karma, and the general fitness with which he enters upon the journey. But if he persists, by the grace of his master, he arrives at last at the end of the highway, at the supreme region, the home of the saints and the abode of the Supreme Father. And this is the end of the journey, because there is nothing higher. He has reached the ultimate region. The journey made during life. This journey is undertaken by master and pupil while both are living here in the physical body. In fact, if it is not at least begun while they are both here in the body, it cannot be accomplished after death. That is the supreme value of this physical body. It offers everyone the most priceless opportunity to escape from the entanglements and bondage of earth and return to his true home above. But if he lets this opportunity pass until death overtakes him, he must inevitably return to this life before he can even begin his upward journey. Not confined to this body. But the inquirer may ask, how can you or a saint really make a journey to a far country while you are still living here in the physical body? You certainly cannot take it with you. This question reveals a misunderstanding which must be cleared up. We are not confined to this physical body even while we are still living in it. You are imprisoned in this body only because you do not know how to get out of it. The body is no part of ourselves. It is only a covering, a house of clay in which we live for the time being. It is simply an instrument of contact with this physical world. That is all. If then we wish to travel in regions far above this plane, where this clumsy body cannot go, we have only to step out of it and go. We need not break the connection. We can return to it when we like and resume its use. This, all of the saints and their disciples who have reached the first region above, do at will. They are quite free. How to do this is one of the first lessons taught their disciples by the saints. Naturally, it is the initial step to be taken before they can even begin their upward journey. But once gaining this freedom, the soul is ready to begin its long and difficult but triumphal journey to distant worlds. The reader is now asked to follow in his mind the journey over the royal highway of the saints stage by stage, as it will be given in some detail. Let him make note of its main features, so that never again will he have the least doubt concerning the path of the saints, or fail to understand how it differs from all other paths. The description is necessarily extremely limited and meagre. Only the merest hints can be given here, for it would require volumes to describe the way, even if one were capable of doing it at all. Preparation for the journey. As in all other cases of travel, naturally some preparation must be made for the journey. This usually means the gathering together of a lot of luggage to be used on the trip or at the other end of the journey. But in preparing to start on this trip over the royal highway of the saints, the process is exactly the reverse of the usual program. It consists in getting rid of all luggage. Though we may not fully realize it, it is nevertheless a fact that most of us are going around carrying on our backs piles of useless luggage which weigh us down and hold us in slavery. Our plight is worse than that of the poorest porter. The very first step is to break the ties that bind us and rid ourselves of the useless luggage that holds us down to earth. These consist of the manifold evil ways, the gross sins, unholy desires, the self-indulgences, the passions, the love of the world, its pleasures, its pomp and vanities. All of these things constitute the load of luggage each one is carrying about with him, and by them he is hopelessly and literally weighted down to earth and bound here. Until the soul and the mind break loose from these and stand free from them, we cannot take the first step on the path of the saints. How to break these bonds constitutes the moral philosophy of the saints, but in this there is nothing unique. The moral philosophy of the saints differs but little, if any, from that of all great world religions. This knowledge is a common possession of mankind. No one has a monopoly on the knowledge of correct living. The saints take but little time to inculcate morality. That is taken for granted. It constitutes but the most elementary step on this path. Perhaps no better system of morality has ever been formulated and given to mankind than that of the eightfold path of Prince Gautama Buddha. But here all religions meet on a common ground. In this respect, the path of the saints differs but little from all other systems. We simply must disburden ourselves of this world. We cannot take this world and its ways with us to higher regions. That is the sum of the whole matter. Disentangle yourself from the world and stand aloof from it. Morality alone not sufficient. Before passing from this point, it would appear fitting to call attention to one vital consideration, usually lost sight of by most teachers and systems. It is this: morality, even though it be of the most perfect system imaginable, and even though its every precept be most scrupulously observed, is not sufficient to break the chains of slavery which bind every soul to this world and to the wheel of birth and death. And this leads us to one point regarding the moral philosophy of the saints that must be especially noted. In this regard alone, it may be said to differ from the teaching of all other systems. The saints tell us that it lies not in the power of any man to free himself by his own unaided efforts. He is so entangled and bound here by the chains of the 5 enemies that he cannot effect his own escape without help. Footnote: a reference to the 5 passions described in letter 9, end of footnote. It is just here that the saint comes to the rescue of his disciple. The Master, and he only, has the power to break those fetters. Without him, the individual may struggle as he will. He may fight courageously to the end of his days, and all he can do is better his condition a little, storing up more favourable karma for the future. But in the end, he is still bound, and he must return to earth again and again under the wheel of 84, that is, the endless circle of transmigration. This is a vital truth overlooked by most teachers of moral philosophy. Many students boast that man is master of his own fate, that he must look to himself alone for liberation. It is a vain boast, for he will return here, birth after birth, age after age, until he finally places his destiny in the hands of a real master. We believe that this egotistical assumption of many students is a sort of natural reaction against the useless intervention of the priest. But the position of the true master in his relation to his disciple is as different from that of the priest as day is different from night. While the priest is not only useless but highly detrimental to the individual, the Master is absolutely essential to spiritual liberation and upward progress. Preparing to leave the body. Assuming now that the outer preparation has been made, that the student has divested himself of all evil luggage which bound him down and obstructed his upward passage, his next step is to close all of the 9 avenues of sense that connect him with the outer world, and then go inside and prepare to leave the body. How to do this in the best and most effective manner, every saint teaches his disciples at the very outset. The method is made so clear that he cannot mistake it, and the student is amply safeguarded against all possible errors. He cannot be misled if he follows instructions. His first exercise is to concentrate his mind at the tisra dil, or third eye. He must pull in his wandering thoughts, restrain his restless mind, and hold it steadily at one point. The mind is often compared to a monkey hopping around, but it must be brought to a standstill, to absolute rest at the given centre. In due time, if the process is complete, the individual spirit current or substance is slowly withdrawn from the body, first from the lower extremities, which become feelingless, and then from the rest of the body. The process is identical with that which takes place at the time of death, only this is voluntary, while that of death is involuntary. The whole spiritual being gathers at the given centre or focus, its powers increasing because of the concentration. Eventually, he is able to pierce the veil that intervenes, which in reality is not thicker than the wing of a butterfly, and then he opens what is called the 10th door and steps out into a new world. The body remains in the position in which he left it, quite senseless but unharmed by the process. He can return to it at will. He may remain out of it for hours or even weeks and months. The life processes slow down almost to a standstill, but the body remains in perfect health until the owner is ready to return to it. In all of this, the student is neither asleep nor unconscious, not for a moment. In fact, the reverse takes place. He is superconscious. He knows all that is going on in and around him, and vastly more than he ever knew before. He is intensely awake and will remember all of his experiences vividly. He is now in a world he never saw before, and the very existence of which most people are unaware. But it is a world which impresses itself upon the traveller as being much more real than this world. It is also much finer and more beautiful and full of light. Here he beholds a great variety of scenery, of landscapes, of rivers and mountains, and trees and flowers and buildings. Here he meets with multitudes of souls gathered from every nation and tribe of earth. He converses with them, for there all languages are understood by all. The light and colours of that world surpass anything he ever saw before. All of these things the student traveller looks upon for the first time, and with a new pair of eyes which he never consciously used before. He is now operating in his astral body and using his astral senses for communication, the same as he used the physical senses before. Our student is now in the position of a man who has been all of his life confined in a semi-dark prison and has just been given his freedom. He steps out from behind prison walls into a beautiful park or garden in front of the prison, ready to begin his journey home. In fact, he is now ready to actually begin to live. his freedom is intoxicating, joyous, and he is just now ready to begin his journey on the path of the saints, for that is the way that leads to his homeland. Up to this moment, all he has done is to prepare himself for the journey and to open the door of the prison house which held him in. Up to this point, there is but little that is absolutely unique in the process of his preparation. Many others besides the saints have reached this region, by dint of the most strenuous efforts and the practice of certain yoga. Many of the ancients and some modern students have reached the astral plane. They have subdued, but not overcome, the passions, and their excellent concentration has given them great powers of penetration into the lower astral regions. Their understanding and their powers over the forces of nature have increased correspondingly. Many of them, rejoicing at the great beauty and light of this region, have quite firmly believed that they have reached the highest heaven, and that the Lord of this region was the Supreme God. But in fact, this is only the very lowest threshold of that vast system of heaven worlds which lie above and beyond it. It constitutes the very first stage or resting place on the path of the saints. In reality, their journey begins here, since this is the lower terminus of the royal highway of the saints. And yet for most of the world religions this is the end, for their founders never went beyond this region, and so they believed it to be the ultimate. At this point, the student traveller enjoys many new experiences, so much so that he is quite bewildered. He is fairly intoxicated with delight. He is conscious of a marvellous influx of power. His vision is lucid. Space is obliterated. Time has disappeared. For now all events stand before him clearly outlined, the past, the present, and the future. He now realizes the shadowy nature of the lower world from which he has just escaped. He beholds its pitiful limitations, its passing deceptive show, its panorama of births and deaths under the wheel of karma, or the law of cause and effect. All of these things are now clear to his illuminated consciousness, and yet he has taken but the first step. For the royal highway begins just as you step through the 10th door, out of a physical body and into the first astral zone. Student here meets his master. It is here on the very threshold of the upper regions that the student traveller first meets his master face to face in his radiant form. From that moment on, through the remainder of his life, that radiant form is his constant companion, and he may always ask the radiant master any questions he may wish to ask, and receive an answer. From that happy day forward, he needs no other teacher. All information on any subject is ready at hand. It is this radiant master who now takes command of the upward journey. He will be his guide all the way. A few of the bravest of men have reached this region by their own unaided efforts, but even they doubtless had the help of some men who had already gone that far. A few may advance a little further, but only the saints and their disciples may travel the royal highway to the higher regions. Fortunate indeed is the student who has a real saint as his master, for he alone will reach his home in the exalted plains of the region of truth. The Shabad or sound current. It is quite necessary to call attention here to the sound current, for that is a vital factor in the path of the saints. From the very first, the disciple begins to listen for its sound during his hours of sitting. By and by he will come to hear it at any and all times, even while he is about his daily duties. Gradually the sound becomes more distinct and sweeter in tone. Only when he reaches the first region, the true sound is heard, the real Shabad. This sound current is the most vital factor in his further progress. From it, he constantly draws energy, and by it he is enabled to overcome all hindrances and all weaknesses. It is extremely musical, sweet, and delightful. Its attraction fairly pulls the soul upward, and throughout the entire journey, this sound current is his constant companion and support. Without it, he could never make the journey. Consequently, the sound current and the master are the two vital factors in making the upward journey. Without them both, it cannot be made. These two, then, are the all-important factors in the path of the saints, the sound current and the living master. Location of the first region. The location of the first region should be kept in mind. In the Radha Soami literature, mention is often made of the grand divisions of creation. The highest is that of the Supreme Being, his residence, and it consists of pure spirit unmixed with matter of any sort, and is free from all imperfections. It is called the Satdesh or Sachkhand. In that region there is not even mind, only pure spirit. That region is so vast in extent that all the rest of creation below it appears no more than a small cloud floating in its sky. It is inhabited by vast multitudes of pure spirits who are not subject to death or change. They are supremely happy. Then comes the grand division called Brahman, the middle division. It is of a very high order of creation, mostly spiritual, but is mixed with mind and other very fine sorts of matter. In fact, mind itself is an extremely high order of matter, for it is not self-conscious and is wholly dependent upon spirit for its life and function. This grand division is the realm of universal mind. All souls, in their descent from Sachkhand, here take on their mental apparatus for purposes of contact with the worlds below, and here on their upward return journey they discard it. In this grand division are located all of the heavens of the great world religions, most of them in the lower sections of it. Compared to the physical worlds, this division is also vast in extent and is divided into numberless distinct regions or planes, world above world, and is inhabited by millions and billions of refined beings, many of whom believe that they are in the highest heaven. Then comes the physical universe, the lowest grand division, called Bind. In it are all of the suns, moons, stars, and planets, all of the unnumbered worlds noted by our astronomers. And far beyond the range of their most powerful telescopes, still other universes without number. Our Earth is only one of the small planets belonging to one of the suns of this system. The Earth is comparatively but a mere microscopic speck of dust floating in the sky of one small universe. Now the astral region, which our traveller has just entered, lies at the top of the lowest grand division, just beyond the topmost border or frontier of the physical universe. It lies in a subdivision of Brahman called Unda, which is sometimes described as a grand division in itself. Its substance, while very coarse when compared with the finer worlds above it, is extremely fine when compared with the earth's substance. It vibrates at a much higher speed than any known earth substance, and its light is much greater in intensity. It has its own laws and characteristics. It is a distinct plane of life and is the first of the numberless sets of 3 dimensions extending upward beyond the earth planes. So even this physical plane of ours is only one of these sets of 3 dimensions arranged in an ascending scale. There are other planes of life below us, coarser and poorer, and their inhabitants are of a lower order of being than ourselves. As a rule, the inhabitants of one plane are wholly unconscious of all other planes above them. They live and die somewhat as we do, and pass to other regions as their karma impels them. The duration of individual life increases as you go from lower to higher regions. Always the passing from a lower to a higher plane depends upon the life one has lived and the assistance of his or her master. Such is the order of creation, plane upon plane, world above world, universe beyond universe, in endless succession and variety. To break the bonds of one plane and to traverse other and higher regions is an accomplishment. To do so, one has to qualify for a permanent residence in the upper region. He need not stay there permanently, but he must qualify for it. In fact, he must master each region before he passes to the next higher. That being done, he must then learn the secrets of breaking down the barriers in his way. These secrets can be obtained only from the master. But the way is always open for those who earnestly seek the upward path. It may not be amiss to just mention in this connection one of the most vital and important principles of all progress. It is this: make yourself master wherever you are, then pass to a higher degree. Now our student, having broken the bondage of the physical body, steps out upon the first of the upper worlds. But he has not yet entered the city, which constitutes his first real station on the royal highway. There are many subdivisions in this, as in all other realms. There is much to be seen of that vast and beautiful region called Sahansthal Gummel, so named from a gigantic flower-like light, looking like 1,000-petalled lotus. This region has been briefly sketched by Swamiji in his Sarbhajan. He calls his description only hints. They are but little more than that. But let us read what he says. Swamiji describes the first region. I will give you the secret of the path, a few hints concerning it. First, fix your mind and soul upon Tisra Dil. Gather together mind and soul again and again, and bring them inside. Then behold a window, and beyond that an open Maidan or field. Concentrate the attention upon that, and hold it there. You will see a 5-coloured flower garden, and inside of that behold the Jyoti, candle or light. Enjoy this scene for some days. Then see the blue-coloured sky appearing like a chakra, circular disc. Impelled by love and longing, pierce through this. Then gaze at the Jyoti with detached mind. Hear the unending bell sound and become absorbed in it. Next you will hear the conch. Let yourself become saturated with it. This description is quite incomplete, of course. It omits to mention thousands of things of the most absorbing interest. In that region are suns and moons and stars. In fact, many of them are seen before you reach the real Sahansthal Gummel. There are people of many sorts, living in different styles and engaged in various occupations, of course not of a commercial nature. Mostly they spend their time in concentration, meditating upon the Lord of that region. For this, as all other regions, has its own lord or ruler, and he is the creator of all below him, including the physical universe. He derives his powers from the Lord next above him. It is not surprising that he is often mistaken for the Supreme Lord of the entire universe of universes by those who go no further than his region and who know of nothing beyond that. Just before the first region, near the entrance to this region at Ashtal Kamal, the student first meets the radiant form of the Master. From here on, they make the journey together. Let us now proceed to the second stage. Region number 2, Trikuti. With our great captain in command, we resume our journey. He alone knows the way, and he alone has the key to all regions, for he has travelled them all many times, and besides, he is the recognised Lord of them all for the time being. The true saint is King of Kings, and is universally recognised as Lord, because he is one with the Supreme. His power and authority are recognised all along the route. All other lords, rulers, and people pay obeisance to him. Under his protection, we now enter Trikuti, the second stage on our journey. Here we may rest and study for a long time, even years. There is much here to absorb one's attention. Besides, one has to himself grow and develop before he can advance. Let us quote a brief description of this region from Swamiji. Now, my dear companion, prepare to enter the second stage. Behold Trikuti, the abode of the Guru, where the sound of Onkar is heard perpetually resounding. Then you go on up and open a gate and enter Banknal, the crooked tunnel, passing on to the other end of it. Then you cross high and low hills. Now the vision appears to be reversed, and one sees as if from the opposite side of the veil which he has penetrated. Looking upward, he passes into a fort-like region, which he enters and becomes master of it. He reigns there as lord of that region. Here the soul becomes adorned with the attributes of devotion and faith. Here the seed of all karma is burned, destroyed. You will see thick dark clouds from which peals of thunder constantly resound. When rising above these dark clouds, behold, the entire sphere is red, with the beautiful red sun in the centre imparting its colour to everything. This is where the Guru really gives Naam, for the Master's Shabad Roop is here. The Shabad is, in fact, the fifth Veda. Here you will see the red four-petalled lotus spoken of by the saints, the details and colours becoming visible as one comes nearer to it. Here the bell and conch sounds are left behind, and the sound of murdang, like a drum, is heard. After that, the soul resumes its upward journey. Now comes the sound of a huge drum, beaten incessantly. Here the soul has grasped the primal current from which all creation emanates. Innumerable suns and moons are seen here, and many kinds of skies filled with stars. The soul here realizes its complete separation from Pind and rises to the upper Brahmand, as if intoxicated with joy. He sees and traverses deserts and mountains and gardens. in the gardens of flowers arranged in artistic designs and groups everywhere. Canals and rivulets of transparent water are flowing in abundance. Then he approaches an ocean, which he crosses by means of a bridge. He then beholds the three mountains or prominences called Mer, Sumer and Kailash. From these the region is named. After this, he passes on to a region of the most unalloyed delight. Again, necessarily, much has been omitted. Volumes could be written, and still tell but little of the worlds crossed by the saints. Much of it cannot be told in mortal language, because we have nothing like it here with which to compare it. So we must pass on along this royal highway of the saints. They have given us only hints, just a word here and there. Having reached this region, the soul finds itself in possession of new powers and understanding never realized before. In fact, the disciple has to grow as he advances. That is one reason it often takes years to reach the higher regions. He must be ready for their higher and purer atmosphere. Each successive stage brings him just that much nearer to sainthood itself. But very few of the ancient yogis, seers and prophets ever reached this second region. And yet, no doubt, each one thought he had reached the highest, the abode of the Supreme. For so it appeared to him. In his delight, he could not imagine anything greater, and he had no guru to instruct him concerning the many worlds beyond. Travelling alone, no one can hope to go beyond the upper frontiers of the first region. A few of the Yogeshwars reached the second, and still fewer the third, by the aid of their gurus who had gone that far ahead of them. Beyond that, none but the saints and their disciples have ever gone. From this second region, the Vedas emanated, and consequently they know of nothing beyond it, although Lord Krishna hints at a higher region when he tells his disciple Arjun to transcend the Vedas. They believed it to be the ultimate region, and its Lord they accepted as the Supreme Being. Region number 3. Let us now enter the third region. The student may perchance abide in the second region for years before he advances to the next. But as we are now travelling in imagination only, we may proceed. Quoting again from Swamiji, we read as follows. Now the soul goes on up and opens the third veil, and hears the voice of the sun region. This is Daswandwar, with very brilliant light. The regions of Sahanstal, Kamal and Rikuti have been left behind. The soul here bathes in Mansarovar, lake of nectar, and joins the group of Hansas, swans. The soul then circles about and rises to the top of Sun, and there hears a kingri and sarangi, stringed instruments, something like a guitar. After hearing this sound, he penetrates and crosses Tribeni, a place where 3 streams meet, there entering the vestibule of Mahasun, where he picks up the secret knowledge. This great sphere alone is 70 balungs in circumference, and in this sphere there is at first pitch darkness. Footnote, balung, a unit of measurement of such scale there is no comparison. End footnote. 4 sound currents are heard emanating from invisible sources, the music varying, every minute changing in tone. The sound of the junka predominates and is indescribable in mortal language. One hears them and is entranced by their sweetness. Here are 5 egg-shaped regions or worlds, all full of a variety of creations, and each is permeated by and governed by a Brahm. How can one describe the beauty of these creations? Each has its own predominating colour, like green or yellow or even white. They are quite vast in extent, in comparison with which the entire universe below Trikuti appears very insignificant. Students who attain this third region gain corresponding increase of power and understanding in proportion as this region is vast in extent beyond those below it. But there is constantly increasing difficulty as one goes on up in giving expression to anything relating to those higher regions. They are further removed from the earth and its language, even its ideas. The very ideas in those upper regions are beyond the grasp of the earth's inhabitants until those regions have been traversed, and then one is unable to put them into earthly language. Crossing this third region not only indicates another stage passed on our journey, but it marks a distinct epoch in the progress of the soul. Here he leaves the last remnant of earthly impurities, and the last of his three bodies in which he lives and operates while here. In this region, wholly purified, the soul for the first time sees itself as it is, pure spirit, a child of the Supreme Lord. So here, for the first time, it truly knows itself. Here, for the first time, it is absolutely untrammelled and free, and from here on, its tendencies are all upward instead of downward. The attraction of the still higher regions becomes overwhelming, and the soul is impatient to go on. From here, he returns no more to be born in the flesh, except those who come on special missions of redemption. Being now free from all impurities, the soul here attains a brilliance equal to 12 of our suns, and now it rises rapidly to the more perfect regions above. Let us then resume our journey. We traverse almost measureless space and approach the fourth region. Region number 4. Quoting again from the descriptions of Swamiji, we read, "Now prepare for the fourth stage, O soul, and catch the sound. Cross the pass above the Hansani tunnel and enter the Rukmani tunnel, where you will see a strange and beautiful mark or structure, seeing which the Surat, power to hear, and the Nirat, power to see, both attain peace and rest satisfied. On the right side there are bright islands, and on the left are many continents covered with palaces, appearing as if made of pearls, having their top stories made of rubies and studded with emeralds and diamonds. This innermost secret I have described. Only the brave spirit may venture this far. I then saw the Banwar Gufa mountain, approaching which I heard the Sahung Shabad. The sound emanating from there is like that of a keen flute. Here the soul beholds the white sun above with immense light. The region is most beautiful and sweet and full of light. The souls there live on the sound current as their food. Playing about on the great meadow are groups of Hansas, and along with them are many devotees, sojourners in that region on their way to Sachkhand. Here are vast and innumerable plains and worlds, abounding with a variety of creations, and inhabited by numberless devotees, living on the nectar of Naam. Kabir Sahib also mentions in this region 88,000 islands or continents, all set with beautiful palaces, as above described. This region is truly the gateway to the mansion of the Lord of Sachkhand. It is the vestibule to the supreme grand division of creation. The approach to the fourth region is guarded by a zone of such deep, dense darkness that none but a pure saint may ever cross it. Only he has the light and the power to cross it, and to take his disciples with him. By his grace, therefore, we have come thus far, and now let us enter the gateway of the Supreme Lord of Sachkhand. He is a great Father, and the Lord of us all, and of all regions below him. He is boundless love and light. It is said by both Kabir Sahib and Swamiji that his brilliance is so great, so intense, that even one hair on his body, although in reality he has no form, radiates a light equal to that of many millions of suns combined. It is utterly beyond comprehension. But let us now enter his region. Region number 5. Swamiji, with increasing difficulty of expression, has given a few hints concerning this region. We read, "In the fifth region is a fort-like place, wherein is situated the throne of the King of Kings. You should know him as the true King. The soul now advances to a great and wonderful field or park, the scenery of which is absolutely indescribable. There is also a great reservoir, from below which flow abundant streams of the most delicious nectar, and this nectar flows out through large canals to supply distant regions. Golden palaces are set in open fields of silvery light. But the landscape is indescribable, and the beauty of the Hansas living there is incomprehensible, the brilliance of each one being equal to the combined light of 16 suns and moons. The soul then passes on up to the real entrance. The watchers by the gates are the Hansas. Here the Sahaj Surat asks the soul, 'How have you managed to reach this region?' The newcomer replies, 'I came across a saint, and he gave me knowledge of this region.' Saying this, the soul then pushes on and enjoys the darshan of Satnam and rejoices with an exceeding great joy. A voice then emanates from within the lotus, saying, 'Who are you, and what purpose or object brings you here?' He answers, 'I met the Satguru, and he gave me full instructions. Through his kindness, I now have the privilege of your darshan.' From this darshan, the soul derives immense pleasure. Satpurush then speaks of the mysteries of Alakh Lok, and with his own powers and love, he aids the soul to make further advance toward the still higher regions. Our traveller has now reached the highest grand division of creation, the region of immortality and of truth. While still in the lower regions of Brahman, he is always liable to return to earth and to rebirth and death, the wheel of 84. But when he reaches the pure region of Satlok, the first plane of which is called Sachkhand, there is no more return to earth, except as a redeemer. Here the student traveller enters upon the full reward of his long and arduous course of training. He becomes a saint himself, and the mission of his Guru is finished, so far as this journey is concerned. But the soul has yet to travel over the most sublime and beautiful part of his journey. Above Sachkhand, there are 3 other planes or stages of utterly inconceivable splendour. But from here on, the great Father of Sachkhand takes over the responsibility of guiding the soul to the end of his journey. By his great love and light, he directs the advancing traveller through all of those exalted regions. First, he becomes united in a mystic way with the very essence of the great Satpurush, and so becoming one with him, partakes of all his attributes. He then advances to the 3 remaining stages of Satlok, the 3 highest stages. The next stage is a Lak Lok, presided over by a Lak Purush, and the next after that is a Gam Lok, presided over by a Gam Purush. Finally, the traveller arrives at the end of his journey, the region of the Nameless One, Anami or Radha Soami, the Supreme Lord of all that exists. Although the name Radha Soami may be ascribed to him, it is fully recognized that no name can describe him. No thought can embrace him. No language can tell of him. He is the formless, all-embracing One. He is the impersonal, infinite ocean of love. From him flows all life and spirituality, all truth, all reality. He is all wisdom and love and power. All visible lords of all regions are his manifestations, he taking form, many forms, in order that his gracious purposes might be carried out in all creation. They are all his forms, but none of them expresses his totality. He may take millions of forms, but he himself remains formless, impersonal, all-pervading. He is universal spirit, universal life. Why multiply words? No one can tell of him. When the traveller reaches this supreme region, called by Swamiji the regionless region, he is so absorbed in its joys, so lost in its unutterable splendour, that he at once realizes the futility of even attempting to tell the story to earthbound people. Say what he may, they can form no conception of that region or the life there. Swamiji finishes his descriptions by saying, "The beauty of a Lak Lok is utterly incomprehensible. The soul, unable to describe those regions, goes on up and sees the Alak Purush, the Agam Purush, and then the monarch of all, Radha Soami. From one step to another, the soul beholds strange things which cannot be described in human language. Every region and everything is utterly beyond words. What beauty and glory! How can I describe them? There is nothing here to convey the idea. I am helpless." The soul has now seen the 3 regions above Sachkhand and the ruling Purush in each one. He has seen them and united his own being with them. All he can say is that here in these holy regions, love plays the supreme part. It is all love. So says Radha Soami. We are now at the terminus of the royal highway of the saints. We have finished the journey we set out upon from the common level of earth life. It has been a journey of the greatest glory and triumph. It has led us stage by stage from the low levels of earth to the highest conceivable realm of bliss. The traveller, the student, by virtue of his advancement, has changed from the status of a mere man crawling in the dust of earth to a real God of such unclouded glory, wisdom, and power that no language can recount his triumphs. What he has now become must forever remain quite inconceivable to the ordinary earthman. He may catch only a few glimmerings of it. And this is the path of the saints. Among all of the systems of religion or philosophy that have ever engaged the thought of men, is there anything comparable to the achievements of this path? The position of the master or saint must now be apparent. The journey to the higher regions can never be made without him, either in this life or after death. Therefore the saint is the supreme necessity if one is to reach those regions. For this reason, the way to those regions is called the path of the saints. The entire science is called Santmat, or the teaching of the saints. Happy indeed is the soul who takes shelter with a saint and undertakes the journey in company with him. Among all the sons of men, he is the most fortunate. With greetings of love and all goodwill, believe me, your grateful fellow student, Julian P. Johnson.